Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Green Factor, a show where we talk about green design and the business of sustainability. With me today, we have Tarek, and we will be talking about solving the e-waste problem. So let's welcome Mo. Hi, Mo.
Hi, Harith. How are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So Mo, thank you very much for coming in. I know about Mo when we were in one of the lists. Is it a Genti list?
Genti, yes,
I can't
Untitled list.
remember. So I saw his name and I see his description of the work he do, and it's awesome lah. Because this show, for example, we want to highlight more of the things that are happening here and the solution that people around us are currently doing in this space here in Malaysia. So we know that a lot of things are happening all over the world, but when we search of sustainability, we rarely find something here in Malaysia. So this show is to highlight to the audience, especially Malaysian, that there are companies that are doing good job here. So welcome all.
Thank you very much. I'm equally inspired by the work you are doing, and I'm also, quite amused that you are running a 30-year-old startup. So that's something is quite
So thank
unique
you
as
for that.
well.
Yeah. So I think before we go into the topic of solving e-waste, for the benefits of our viewers and audience, can you share a little bit about your journey in terms of coming here and doing the things you do?
Yes, sure. So actually, I've been an entrepreneur for more than 15 years. I have done, many things, starting from, social networking websites to renewable energy. And then in the year 2015, I started a company that was focused on building solar and storage systems for African villages. So we had a very nice containerized system which you can deploy in an African village that doesn't have any electricity, and then within 60 minutes, they would be able to generate electricity and Wi-Fi and so on. And then we went on during that startup to win some awards, and eventually we sat with investors who wanted to back the projects. So one of the investors once told me, like, are you can you guarantee that after 25 years, which is the system's lifetime, there will be a proper e-waste recycling in those villages? And of course I can't guarantee that. I don't know what's going to happen in 25 years. So he said, well, in that case, I think you are solving a 25-year problem by creating a 250-year problem. And what he meant by that was that right now the villagers may not have electricity, but at least they have, land and water that is uncontaminated, and they rely on that to grow food and so on. But if the solar system and the battery become e-waste after 25 years, and the toxic heavy metals end up contaminating the soil and the water, then they can't even grow their own food. So that is what he meant. And that was a eureka moment for me, because I realized that as a sustainability entrepreneur, I should not be necessarily attached to the solution that I was working on too much, and rather think of the broader picture as what is the most urgent problem that needs to be solved. And I found out that the electronic waste problem was actually a lot more serious and a lot more urgent than the energy diversification. So that's why a few years later, I pivoted my career completely, and I started to do e-waste. And actually, how we ended up in Malaysia is actually an interesting story. I visited Malaysia when I was young, and I loved the country. I wanted to come again. So when I heard in 2018 that China banned the import of e-waste, and now a lot of the e-waste that used to go to China started to end up in Malaysia, and then the news headlines started to talk about this problem, newfound Malaysian problem. So that's why we flew here in summer of 2018 to try to see whether we can contribute something to this problem. to solving this problem. And during that visit, I remember we went to the largest digital mall, Loyat Plaza, and I saw a phone dealer pushing out of his shop a box full of 4,000 mobile phones, dusty and broken. And I asked him, "Where are you taking these?" He said, "I'm about to dump it downstairs because I'm renting out my shop, so I'm cleaning the storage." And I said, "But this is e-waste. You can't throw it in the trash." He said, "Yes, but here in Malaysia, we don't have an easy way to recycle, so that's why we all throw it in the trash." So I asked him to hold on to it for one day. Then I went home, I Googled a licensed recycling facility that recycles phones, and I called them. I made sure that they do accept mobile phones for recycling. Then the next day, I took a grab to the Loyat Plaza. I purchased the 4,000 phones for 1,000 US dollars. And then I took a grab to the factory, gave it for recycling, and I earned 2,000 US dollars. So just through a single logistical transaction, by connecting the waste generator to the licensed recycler, I was able to create a lot of environmental and economic value. So since then, we have just been repeating the same thing over and over again. And in 2021, we were named the number one authorized collection center in Malaysia.
Interesting, interesting. So do you process the e-waste? I mean, like, do you?
So the role of an authorized collection center is to collect, sort, and check the items. But then once we categorize them into three grades: grade A reusable, grade B repairable, and grade C recyclable, we hand them over to each respective party for further processing. So the usable items are sold online, the repairable items are given to refurbished companies to get the spare parts, and then the rest of it, which is about 80 to 90%, goes to the licensed recycler, where it's crushed down, and then all the valuable metals are extracted, and all the harmful materials are basically neutralized before passed on to further processes, or in some cases, some residual waste is put in the landfill, but it's put in the landfill like only about 10% of the original volume. So it's still like 90% reduction in landfilling.
Awesome, awesome. So when we talk about e-waste, for us example, because we always change technology or upgrade our machine, so we have a stockpile of like PCs, monitors, and all that. And I'm sure a lot of people have the same problem. So what is the e-waste situation in Malaysia right now?
So we have seen that the e-waste awareness has increased. In 2019, we were invited by the Jabatan Alam Sekitar to their HQ in Putrajaya, and they really wanted to learn about the work we're doing. They heard about us and they wanted to see what we're doing, and then eventually they created a legal status for companies like us, companies that collect but don't process the e-waste. So that is what is now known as an authorized collector. Um, and in general, I think that there is very serious efforts now by the government to increase awareness about this issue. So that's a good sign. But I think that also in the near future, we're going to have like improved legislation, and then an entire framework that encapsulates the entire supply chain of how electronics enter the market in the first place by the manufacturers and the retailers, and then to consumers, and then from consumers to authorized collectors like us, and then eventually what happens after the authorized collector collects it. And there will be kind of a mechanism and a legislation, and as well as a kind of a subsidy scheme, where there will be kind of an environmental tax that is imposed on each device. And then this money is just like a deposit, so the consumer pays it when he gets the device. It's something like between 10 to 50 ringgit, so it depends on the device. But the consumer pays that in the beginning when they get the device in the first place, and then at the end of the device's life, once they hand it over to an authorized collector, then they get back that money that they have paid in the first place. So this becomes a little bit like in Europe, where you purchase the Coke bottle. It costs €2, but you pay €2.20, and then you get the 20 cent back when you return the bottle, and that has caused a 97% recycling rate for plastic bottles. So it is kind of very similar, but of course, in this case, the lifetime of the device is a lot longer, and then there is now become it now becomes kind of an incentive for the consumer to also ensure that the circular economy is is rotating, it's moving on to the next phase by handing it over to the authorized collector, as opposed to now where they just throw it in the trash or they keep it in storage for 10, 20 years, and then eventually they get fed up and they just throw it also. So
So when we talk about PC, mobile phone, and all that, so there are sensitive information in there. So how do you handle those kind of issue?
yeah, so that's a great point. So first of all, I think it goes without saying that your data is part of you, so it's your responsibility. No one is gonna put the responsibility of their own personal belongings, like your clothes or your money or your phone or whatever. It's not gonna be someone else's responsibility. It's gonna be your responsibility, and the same applies to data as well. So we say that the safest thing is that consumers would actually reset the device themselves before they hand it over. Why? Because we can wipe the data and we can process the like completely erase all the data once the item reaches us. But what happens if the item is lost or stolen in transit? So the driver is driving around collecting, and then you never know what might happen to a device. It had never happened with us before, but of course it's a risk that exists. So that's why, for example, with our banking clients, so banks cannot, of course, afford that this kind of thing could happen, even the slightest possibility. So what they do is that, of course, they use their own systems to delete the data themselves, but then after that, they also let us physically destroy the hard drives on site. So the data actually never leaves the building because the hard drives are already destroyed on site. So if you have such a kind of a sensitive information, so you should delete it first, but then also you can request from us to destroy the hard drive in front of you so that you have peace of mind that the data never went away. However, uh, when the devices reach to us, we will use the world class software and hardware to erase it completely, whether it's mobile phones, whether it's laptops, desktops, anything that has data that comes to us and we can operate it. I mean, it's not password locked or iCloud locked or something like that, because that these things, actually, you might think that giving the phone as an iCloud locked actually protects you. Actually, no, it doesn't protect you. It's better for you to remove the iCloud lock, erase the phone, and then give it to us so that we can perform another erasure. Because even the best erasure software, once you connect it to a locked phone, it's not actually going to delete the data, because it might think that the phone is stolen or something like that, so it wouldn't delete the data, so that the person who perhaps stole it could not sell it again. So the best thing is to remove the iCloud or Samsung Cloud account, do a factory reset, and then after that, once it reaches us, we will do a second reset. And if you really fear about the sensitive items, then you can also request the service of on-site destruction. So it's a chargeable service. We charge a small fee per device, but this one has like 100% peace of mind, and it's being used by all our banking clients and so on.
Hmm. So we have a viewer, Siti Nurwala. Hi Siti, thank you for tuning in. Her question is, do we have anything in place for e-waste or other kind of waste dumped by illegal so-called recycling companies?
Yeah, I think it's a very valid question, and I think that okay, let's just first understand that there might be existing players, like, let's say, for example, scrap yards or solid waste collection companies. They might lack the know-how, and they might basically not be necessarily try to do something illegal or harmful, but just because they don't know better, or because they are just trying to earn an income, So they're just in it to survive, you know. So we shouldn't demonize them because they have a role to play. I think what we can do is maybe help them to transform their operation to something that is more formal, more compliant. So we try to do this. In fact, I remember uh, we received information once that there was a cyber cafe that shut down in Ipoh, and because they shut down so fast, they sold all of their working monitors to a scrapyard. And of course, we know what happens in a scrapyard. The devices are gonna be, you know, they're gonna take the metals out, and the rest they're gonna dump it somewhere. So we actually went to the scrapyard and we said, "Hey guys, did you know that these monitors that you just purchased are working?" They said, "No, we don't know." We said, "Okay, they are working. So why don't you let us test them? And if they pass our quality test, we will pay you 5 times as much as you would earn if you scrap them." So because of that, they allowed us to test the 400 monitors, and we in the end found 200 of them, half are still in good condition. Of course, because you know when they were transporting them, they chuck it in the lorry and stuff. So some of them got damaged, but at least half of them were still in good condition. So we did pay them 5 times as much, and then we took the monitors, came back, and then they were all completely sold out within a couple of months online by people at that time was MCO and so on. They needed devices for online learning and stuff. So this is just an example that the scrapyard were just scrapping the working monitors just because they didn't know better. They didn't know that there would be a better way. But once we gave them the better way, so they were able to to do the right thing. So I think it will take a lot of effort to try to get them on our side and try to kind of bring them into the fold of the formal recycling. And I think the Jabata Alam Sekitar is doing a lot of effort to foster this conversation. Thank you. It was a good question.
Thank you, Siti. I think more. I want to talk more of the solution because
Mm.
right now we have waste not just in Klang Valley, all over Malaysia, and logistic is an issue. Collecting is an issue. So there's a lot of different issues when we talk about e-waste situation. So what are the important things you think that we should look into in terms of solving this holistically?
So let me first tell you that when we researched this problem back in 2018, we realized that the bottleneck was definitely logistics. So if you go to the all the big recycling plants and you ask them, are you operating at capacity? They would say, no, we are operating at like 40-50% capacity. So you ask them, you want more volume? Yes. So why aren't you going and getting it? Then they would say, because all the e-waste is distributed over thousands or millions of different locations. So for me to go around and collect all that, it would be prohibitively expensive. So I just sit in my yard and I wait for people to do all the effort. So that's why Earth decided to focus on the logistical bottleneck. So in fact, this all we do. We are just connecting the waste generator to a pre-existing processor. So we are not inventing anything new. We just create the link between those two, and then we can unlock a lot of potential. So I think that what is stopping Malaysia today from going from, let's say, 26% recycling rate to, let's say, 50 or above 50, I think the only thing stopping it right now is probably mostly willpower, awareness and willpower. I think if we just wake up tomorrow and like twice as many people decide to recycle, will there be some kind of a pressure or some kind of a challenge for the existing processors to handle it? I don't think so. I think we Earth, we can easily collect twice as much as we collect now. In fact, we can probably collect 5 or 10 times as much as we collect now with our existing infrastructure. So Earth doesn't have that problem. The partners that we hand over the stuff to, they are also keen on having as much stock as possible, as much inventory coming in as possible. So if we have double or triple the stock, we will be able to give them. And even if they are overloaded, there is 62 licensed recyclers in the country, so we can easily send the overflow somewhere else. So I think that right now it's just awareness and willpower. So I think this is why I came on the show, because I think we just need to all band together as one team, and realize that it's not us against each other. It's actually all of us together against the landfill, because the landfill still receives more e-waste than all of us. So yeah, I think it's just awareness and willpower at this point.
Yeah, I think you hit a nail there. This is one of the reason I do the show, is because for us we need to have more conversation. Like for me, I might know about wood recycling, so but there's a lot of different kind of ways we have to look into. So by having different kind of people doing different kind of things, solving different things, you create that ecosystem that we want. Because right
Yes.
now we cannot really exist alone. I mean, like we need to have everyone in the supply chain to help us in different industry and all that. So that's why I invite you as well, because e-waste is something out of my territory, but I'm seeing it problem for me, and I'm sure a lot of people have the same problem. So at the same time, when we talk about problem, there are also opportunity. Like for me, I utilize reclaimed wood, reclaimed timber that normally people throw away, and turn it into something of higher value, and it becomes a business. And we want this kind of business, more business like this, to grow big, because it uh, on its own, it's a good business, but at the same time it solves real life problem. So let's talk about the opportunities in the industry itself. Where are the gaps that needs to be filled, and where are these?
So I think that the opportunities in this industry are actually plenty. In fact, what our growth strategy after like beyond Klang Valley, when we want to go nationwide, or even when we want to go to other countries, it is going to be not necessarily going and opening an office in the other country and kind of reinventing the wheel, building everything that we have done here over there. That's not actually the strategy, because Malaysia is only like 2% of the global e-waste problem. So it's only 2% here and 98% elsewhere. So for us to try to cover the entire planet, I think that will not be the right strategy. But the right strategy, in our opinion, is to create like a franchise model, to go to, let's say, a local entrepreneur in Thailand, and if they're interested in solving the e-waste problem, but they don't want to go through the learning curve that we had to go through over 4 years in order to reach where we are. And we nowadays have like very advanced technological tools that they can use like from day one in order to make the whole thing more efficient. So let me give you an example. Like a few months ago, we partnered with Maxis on building the digital platform to track and route optimize our heroes and so on. It actually dropped the average driving per trip from 30 kilometers down to 10 kilometers. So now the drivers are very happy, because they earn the same money, but they drive like two-thirds less. That is just one example of the kind of tool that we can give to a local entrepreneur in Thailand or in Cairo or wherever, so that they can basically hit the ground running. They can immediately start to offer convenient household and business pickup services. And then after that, what happens to grading the items? How do you re-commerce? How do you sell it again? How do you maximize the value? So all of that, the playbook, we try to integrate it into a digital system, and then offer it as a franchise model to entrepreneurs elsewhere, because we realize that we if we go to Brazil or United States, there is probably someone local there who knows the place much better. They can run the entire operation better, but we still have a tool that they can utilize. I think this is the opportunity. The opportunity is to band together and to start supporting each other in the supply chain. So in our case, we also tell our partners, if you are like a fabric recycling. I mean, in fact, I have one story. our friends at Cloth, they are fabric recycling company. They were running a campaign with Shell gas station where you could drive to the gas station, give them your old clothes, and get free fuel. And they were paying like 10 cents per kg. So the average home maybe can do like a 10 or 20 kg at a time. So then they would get fuel worth of maybe 1 or 2 ringgit. So that was not attractive enough. But then Cloth reached out to us and said, hey, can we combine the e-waste and the clothes so that instead of getting 2 3 ringgit, you can now get 20 or 30 ringgit? And we said yes. And then that campaign was so successful that they asked to extend it from 1 month to 4 months. That was in the end of 2020. And in the end, we gave off like more than 10,000 ringgit worth of free fuel. So it was a very successful campaign. And this happened because we banded together. If we had done it alone or they had done it alone, I don't think it would have been as successful as when we collaborated together.
Awesome story. And I think the thing that you're doing is not new, meaning like there are other people that is doing this kind of thing. But what I'm interested in what worked for your business, because this is a standard practice or business that can be replicated by everyone. But what worked for your business, and what are some of the things that other industry that wants to look into recycling their industry waste to look into?
Okay, so that's a good question. Actually, I have to tell you, yes, you are right. We are not inventing rockets or sending a satellite to space or whatever. It's not something that is very complicated. But on the other hand, let me tell you that it's also very very complicated in order to get the entire thing running in the first place, because you always have a chicken and an egg problem. If you start to recruit a lot of drivers but you don't have enough orders, then the drivers eventually are going to leave you because they don't earn enough. If you start to have a lot of orders but not enough drivers, then the orders are never going to contact you again because they are disappointed. Then you also need to balance between how much you're going to pay to the owner of the e-waste, how much you're going to pay to the driver, and then how much margin you have left in order to spend on the rest of the fixed cost of the business, and then also invest in marketing and so on. So let me tell you that to get all this working and to run this in a not break even or loss making manner, this is actually the real innovation. And this is why in the last 2 years, when there was MCO, many of our competitors either downsized or shut down their business, while our business grew by 4 or 5 times. Yes, it might seem from the outside that, okay, what's new? You're doing the same thing that has been done for decades. But actually, the way we do it, by utilizing the freelance network, by doing the grading ABC, because some of our competitors, they collect and they give everything to the recycling plant. So that's why they cannot offer free pickup for one to three items like us. They cannot pay high cash rewards like us. They cannot spend on marketing because they don't earn enough. They're earning, just barely earning from the recycling. They don't have the grade A and the grade B other monetization sources. So that's why they are running barely break even. And then they go to the Jabata Alam Secretary and say, hey, if you don't create a subsidy for us, then we are going to shut down. So we have managed to create a system where we don't need the subsidy. Yes, we want to be compliant. We want to be authorized collector, get the stamp of approval from the Jabata Alam Secretary. But are we doing it to get the subsidy to survive? Not at all. So I think this is actually the unique thing about our business, is that we managed to get this formula working, and so far it has served us so well.
Awesome. So it's more of the business model, right?
Yes.
Implementing and
Yes. So I think this touches upon our conversation offline. Before we came to this, I think sustainability, and social enterprises, they actually, they don't need any help on the why they're doing it, or they don't need any help on what is the major, what is the big cause that they want to rally behind or whatever. All of that, you talk to any student of sustainability or environmental engineering or whatever, they will tell you so many things that they are passionate about and they want to solve, and even how to solve it. But I think what many of them lack is actually how to make the commercials work, because that is the part that is missing. Because and we all need to realize that if this part is not strong, then no matter how good you are, how good your heart is, how good your idea is, you're not going to be able to maximize your impact. So that's why I think we all need like a commerce 101. We need to think about the business first, because all the other things are just going to fall in line if the business, if the unit economics are sound.
Mm. Yeah, so that's why one of the things that we need to have more conversation, because sometimes people think that NGO and social enterprise are the same. So when they operate as social enterprise, they have the same mindset. So the mindset needs to be very different. Like you say, we do business, so we need
Yes.
to make sure that it's a proper business, it's work. Then other things would follow suit. So by having like a sustainability inside my company, I see a lot of benefit into the business itself. Like we have higher margins, a new revenue stream, less cost reduction, and talent acquisition. So these kind of things, these are not about saving the environment. This is the additional benefit. So when I
Yes.
started, I wanted to help save an environment, but now it's actually one of the
A
things
side
that
effect.
give us a competitive advantage. So we want more businesses to adopt sustainability in a way that it's proper and not greenwashing. And I'm so proud that you also you have gone through that, and where we don't really need the help from the government. We need certain, but not in terms of like you
Yeah.
say. So right now it works in a way, but what are your challenge? Like how can like the people or the community help you grow as well?
So it goes without saying that the help we need is to start with yourself, start with your friends and family. Please spread the word. Let them know that there is nowadays a service that doesn't require any effort whatsoever. You don't need to even leave your home. You just fill the booking form, which takes 60 seconds, and then we will dispatch one of our heroes to your doorstep, take the items, pay you. You do the right thing. Very easy, very fast. So please help us spread the word. We have a big budget. I mean, I think, to my knowledge, we have the biggest budget out of the social enterprises in my circle, where we spend on advertising, try to get the word out there, and so on. So any help that you can give to spread the word will just make things better. So this is the website where you can make the booking, or you can use our WhatsApp hotline. It takes 60 seconds. Any household or business can request a free pickup from us, and we usually fulfill the orders within 2 days. Like a very big percentage of the orders are fulfilled within 2 days. So this is the first one. The second one is, I hope for I'm gonna send this message to my perceived competitors. Companies that are in the same space, but they are separate from us. Please don't see us as competitors. We actually want to work with you. Whatever we have that you can benefit from, we will provide to you for free of charge, because we want you to succeed. Because when you succeed, we will also succeed, because the rate of recycling in Malaysia, e-waste recycling, is going to increase, and that is going to benefit all of us. This is a little bit like, Google versus Facebook, right? It might seem like they are competing companies, but actually, in reality, there are some people who came online just to use Facebook. Eventually, when they want to search for something, they're going to use Google. And the people who came online looking for something to use Google, when they want to connect with their friends, they are going to go to Facebook. So there is this halo effect where, we are all bringing new people into this industry, and eventually there will be cross pollination, and they're going to use your service, then they're going to use my service, and so on. So we are not competitors. So please don't perceive us as such. Let's get together. Let's create, kind of like a think tank, or maybe just casual, regular discussions. I think we are already part of one, the TAPE project, and they are open to having more members in. We have like these get-togethers where we share our experiences, and how to make the industry better. And then, just in general, I would advise each person, regardless whether they use Earth or they use something else, as you consume technology, please be aware of the environmental and social impact that can be, both benefited as well as lost if we do things right versus we do things wrong. So we have already donated last year more than 250 devices to the B40 community completely free of charge. These 250 devices were repaired after someone has kind of got rid of them or throw them away. Or so imagine if these 250 devices would have ended up in the landfill, versus imagine when they have now been repaired by us and donated, and they can now be part of someone's learning journey, or part of someone's work from home who cannot afford the new device. So very, very different outcomes. Here it's an environmental disaster. Here it's actually kind of something that makes society better, and so on. So very, very big difference. So please, try to think, mindful consumption. I also change my laptop every 2 years. I change my phone every year. I have PlayStation 5. I also use technology. Sure, we all love it. We all use it, but just be mindful and try to maximize the life, because to get this device in your hands in the first place, there it has taken a significant toll on the environment already. So the worst thing we can do after using it for 1 or 2 years is to chuck it in the landfill. That is just not okay in any way.
Yeah, so I want to touch a little bit of the point that you say earlier, where your competitors are not actually competitors. I think I have the same view where some people ask, why do I share everything that I do, even the technical and thing outside? For me, it's like I cannot make 1 million tables, but we need 1 million tables that is being made in a sustainable way for us to have an
Yes.
impact. And the market is so big, the pie is so big. If you look at Malaysia, maybe it's just a small cake, but if you look at the world, you cannot eat alone. So that's why I think like the view that competitors are not your competitors should be overlooked. And at the same time, that is why we have our community in Facebook, the Green Design Malaysia community, where we have business entrepreneurs, designers, students, researchers, consumers, and we try to have conversation about this kind of issue and have this kind of sharing so that a lot more people can benefit from it. Like businesses, established businesses can adopt sustainability in a way that they can benefit as well, and have other conversation to be solved, especially in Southeast Asia kind of issues. So do join us and be part of the discussion. So when we talk about Earth more, what do you see the future of Earth be?
So this morning, I was approached by, I think, the largest or one of the largest global logistics companies. And I'm glad to say that not only are they, kind of talking about sustainability, but in fact, they are now very, very serious about, integrating startup solutions that really, really make a difference on the sustainability front. And they have a huge global footprint. Like they are in, more than 200 countries. So when these kind of companies approach us and they say, hey, we want to work with you, want to do something with you, this is something that can really accelerate our growth. So as I said, Malaysia is only 2% of the global market. Yes, we want to solve the e-waste problem in Malaysia. Yes, we want to raise the Malaysia recycling rate to be number one in Southeast Asia, more than 50%. And I think we will. I think give us a few years, we will definitely reach there. But we are still mindful that 98% of the problem is outside, and we are just need to find a way in order to take all of these learnings that we have learned and all the tools that we have built and put it in the hands of someone else that can benefit from it, and in their own region. So this is something that I think we need to work on with our partners. And this is an invitation for all the companies that want to do sustainability. It looks good on your sustainability report. It can even earn some income for you. It can do a lot of social good, because when we donate the devices, we donate it in your name, so that would be beneficial. So there's so many things that can be benefited from working with us or working with other social enterprises. So please reach out to us. As for us, the future, I'm already doing what I like to do. This is not about the money anymore. I actually have enough not to work in earth anymore, but this is my passion project, and this started as a family business. The co-founder is my wife. So this is something that we're passionate about, and we really want to solve it, and we really want to continue doing it. And I think it has reached a point where it is already self sustainable, so it doesn't need us to continue putting our own money to make it run. So that's good news, and that, I think, makes it attractive to external investors to come and invest in the business, and then let it go to the next level, to reach other countries and so on. So I think future looks bright, but I'm now expecting, my we are expecting our first baby after 2 months. So this is kind of a time when we have to balance a little bit the personal and the work. But I think that by the beginning of next year, we probably already be ready to tackle the bigger challenges, and to continue fueling the growth of Earth.
Awesome, awesome. Congratulations for the
Thank you,
new
Hari.
baby. The first baby, the
Yeah,
previous baby is Earth, yeah.
yeah, correct. So this is now first baby in human form. Yes.
So yeah, so there's a lot that we can look forward to, and I'm so proud that you are going through this route and striving, and we want more green businesses to support, to grow big, because we want to show that a green business model can work in this part of the world, and hoping that if people see that this business model works, they can also implement in their model, even though they don't really care about the environment, but they
Yeah.
see that, oh, we can make money on it. So we want
Yeah.
to have those non-activists or the non-conscious to also adopt just because it works. So
Yes.
hoping to see you grow larger,
Thank you.
and
Same to you.
so for everyone else, if you want to contact him, uh, a Facebook or
I
LinkedIn
think
is
you
better for
can
you.
you can go earth.app, and you can scroll down to the WhatsApp icon. You click on that, and then you can reach out to us on the hotline, or you
Awesome,
can fill the booking form, or on social
awesome.
media. So,
So just go to the website, and most of it are there. So thank you very much again, Mo, for spending your time and sharing your stories.
thank you,
For
Harith.
everyone else, thank you very much for your Thursday lunchtime with us, and see you next week. Bye bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye bye.